Thank you.
My name is Jeff. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C. I am a Moorish American. I am a Native American. I am not African American. I'm not, black. All of those are subjective titles given by Jesse Jackson. Um, I am not Negro or whatever the names that you may call it here in America. I'm simply an indigenous, original black man here in America. I know this kind of like a best way to describe it.
Yeah.
I do have my DNA shows that I am Nigerian. That's within my DNA structures. The Igbo tribe is pretty much where my DNA lies, and I have a great deal of knowledge and history of the Igbo people and the Nigerian people. Um, I come from, I've been blessed with a great deal of knowledge. I am wealthy in knowledge. Um, I do every day I research. I'm a historian part time. I'm a cybersecurity engineer full time. I'm heavy in cybersecurity, anywhere for defense to hacking to penetration testing, um, and all the way down to security frameworks and controls. Um, it was once told to me by an elder that I have two lives, and one life. I know it may sound like a Matrix kind of
Mhm.
episode, but one of those lives will have a future, whether it be teaching the knowledge that I've obtained thus far, or whether I be a successful cybersecurity engineering. I have grown very tired of doing the field that I'm
Yeah.
on, and I felt a need to inform the people what I've learned, because I don't proclaim that I'm an expert or a scholar or a professor at a school, but I can retain a great deal of knowledge, and I felt like the
Yeah.
Creator has blessed me with a great deal of knowledge. I'm able to humble myself with it, and I'm not here to hate anyone on this call. I'm not here to offend anyone, because I have to abide by the 42 negative confessions given by the ancient Egyptians. This is long before the Ten Commandments was
Mhm.
even thought of. So this information that I'm going to provide today is going to be very explosive. It's going to be information that you never heard before. You never even
Wow.
Nobody's going to be prepared for what I'm about to say, but it explains a lot in terms of how we live in this world today.
Wow. Amazing. So I think I asked a question before I found glitches. We are talking about hidden secrets of Caucasian. Like I fail to understand, are Caucasian white people?
No,
Because when I read some information, I get white people are being called Caucasian, and again when I read somewhere else, like they are not. So from the knowledge.
all, all of these, like I said in my introduction, is just labels.
Mm,
I call them the Tamahu people. They derived from Egypt by a rogue ancient Egyptian who
mhm,
decided that he wanted to become God himself. And he developed and crafted this non humanoid individual, which is part animal
mm.
and a dead person.
Wow.
You would know these individuals by the fur on their skin and the less melanated color, the pigmentation of their skin. Dr. Richard King speaks a lot about this, about the melanin is the key. And of course, Dr. Barnes is another brother who spells it out and gives you the actual scientific nature of of melanin, and how there are so many people around this world that have less pigmentation. The the reasoning behind this creation is
Mhm.
because they want to be able to you know, create a war-like human being. These people do not have the consciousness. They cannot reach above the third chakra. And let me just say this. I'm just going to put it out there. There are a few
Yeah.
Caucasians out there that are our brothers and sisters. Not all of them are our enemies, but majority of them you can tell by their own actions how they are. But the Tamahu people was described in a temple called the Temple of Seti the First, long ago. In this temple, it describes various different races in the temples and how the Caucasian man was crafted. It was given the Caucasian name later on thereafter because they resided in the Caucasus Mountains. But I'm here to tell you that's much more
Yeah.
deeper than them being in the ice age and how they went from being at an animal state to a human being as they are. The Tamahu people was created because by this, like I said, by a rogue Egyptian. It was described in the temple. And when Napoleon long ago visited this temple, they saw themselves painted on the walls for what they are, a blue-eyed, blonde hair, Caucasian. Um, they came out of that temple distraught, uh, very upset because they saw who they were. And they used the cannon to blow up their temple, Seti the First. Then they reconstructed the temple, only leaving out their identity in the process. These same people, during the time, they were Set worshippers. And this day, you might know Set. It came later on that Set was the brother of Osiris. His original name of Osiris was really Asar. That was his original name. And you had a lot of worshipers that worship Set. Even till this day, they worship Set. What you now know as Satan. That's what the derivative word came from. So these individuals used to walk in all fours. They used to roam in their land, and these Egyptians saw who they are for what they are. They were loving people. They did not hate them. They did bring them on to the lower parts of Egypt just so that they can be taught how to cultivate, how to learn the language, and how to dress themselves and so forth. Then at some point, because they were still at an animal state level, they decided to try to take over Egypt multiple times, and they were banished from the land to Mount Sinai, where they actually stayed there beyond the walls to keep them from coming back to Egypt at that point in time. That's where the term Europa came from. And as a result, you have the country called Europe. That's the derivative of where they came from. Now, somehow there was a guy that came in to actually rescue these Caucasians individuals, and his name was Musa, Musa. In the Bible, it's described as Moses, which is actually a false terminology because it was actually taken from a pharaoh called Thutmose III. So Moses is a fictitious character, and he was the one that actually brought them out of that situation, and only for them to actually war with the Egyptians. Now, this next part is going to be heavy, and I hope you can bear with me on this. I
Yeah,
know
let's go deep. Let's
I provided you
go deep on
information,
that heavy one.
but I'm gonna go deep. Many years ago in ancient Kemet, and Kemet means the land of the Great Black. aka the motherland. That's what the derivative. Other names were called Tamari, was the original name before Africa was actually Africa. And the only reason why it's named Africa is because of Africanus, El. He only visited one part of the country, one tiny bit of the country of the motherland, and he basically just called it Africa ever since. But long ago, he never visited the entire country. He just visited Northern Africa. Long time ago in ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt is basically what I'm speaking of. There was a prophecy that was given to the ancient Egyptians, and it was brought to the attention to the Pharaoh at that point in time that one day Egypt was going to fall. So they had 5,000 years to prepare. Now, this information came from Bobby Hibben himself. He's a lecturer, a great metaphysician. He's also of the occult, and he's heavy in Latin and other things as well. One day in ancient Kemet, it was brought to attention by a prophet and a priest that Egypt was going to fall. So they had 5,000 years to prepare in order to, prepare for this great downfall of Egypt. So they kept writing on the walls every story that they can provide, because they knew one day that these Europeans and these Arabs was going to come into the country and rob them, take all the gold, put them into the museums, not realizing that the messages was actually written for us, the great grandfathers of Africa. And I'm going to explain that in a moment. They knew that the gods was going to rise in the West. The West meaning America. We are the gods, long ago, that they are speaking of. And so is every Black person on the planet. Now, this knowledge is called the Metu Neter, hieroglyphs that you see on the walls. These Europeans was going to come down, take the information, and pretty much write books about it, just so that they can tell you that they have discovered this information, or they discovered electricity, or they discovered all these multiple things. And they blew the nose of the Sphinx just to make sure that, you wouldn't have any ties. It was more like a cutoff at that point to prevent you from knowing your true knowledge, your true history of your ancestors. The pharaohs at that point in time was very distraught of the information. They was very afraid, very fearful, and they did all that they can to preserve the knowledge, so that we can actually learn it. The whole object of this is the knowledge was given because Egypt believes that they did not want. No, it's not this thing of I'm going to take everything with me. They left it there because they knew that it was going to be used all over the world. Things like mathematics, science, physics, and so forth. They were pretty much giving everything to the world. It was for the world to have, because they know that eventually at some point, people like myself will eventually go back and understand the history and the knowledge. And the thing is, once we obtain that knowledge, it's not that we go back and do all of the great things that they have done. It's for us to do something new out in the West, for us to actually grow and actually do some major things, take and basically just use that as a foundation to move forward and understand how this planet works, how it revolves around the sun, understanding the 9 planets. And pretty much, if you understand the Bible, and I know many of you probably read the Bible, the entire Bible was written about the cosmos. If you look at a lot of the verses, and I can give you a few, I have to go on my notes and find them, but it starts speaking about the sun. And just like I mentioned about the commandments, 10 of those commandments was taken from the negative confessions, the 42 negative confessions. And a lot of people read the Bible, but they don't understand the author of the Bible. His name was James Stewart III, located in England. And it was he that had a great relationship with William Shakespeare. If you understand, if anybody read Othello, and just to give you a piece of what, some of those inserts, those excerpts that they placed in the Bible, peace be still, came directly from Othello. That's where the original terminology came from.
Okay.
So, later on, these Caucasians, because they cannot, the reasoning they cannot go above the animal state level, and I'm saying most of them, is because they never was built by the Creator from straight consciousness. Anything above the third dimension is love and peace. And, if most Caucasians today don't have compassion of this world, because if they did, they would understand the narrative confections, and it would everything that's written there, which is 142, by the way, they would know and understand. Oh shit, I actually did mess up, and how can I correct it? The only way you can correct it is have a relationship with the Creator, and try to
Yeah.
and just pretty much repent for everything that you have done. You can't speak for everybody else. You can only speak for yourself. And action speaks louder than words. You will know good Caucasian people when you see them. Um, people like John Adams, um, John, Mr. Brown. I call him Mr. Brown, John Brown, or something like that. These are good abolitionists during their time who pretty much did not like slavery whatsoever. Abraham Lincoln was another one, even though he didn't call himself an abolitionist, but he was a great emancipator for this country. And little do most people know, America is Africa. And my proof is, if you look at the tectonic plates between Florida and Africa, it's still connected. So that's one thing that they cannot lie. Also, the Peters projection. Africa is the largest country of the continent of the world, based on the Peters projection. But all of these things were corrected in time by the Vatican during the Nicene Council, creating this Jesus Christ, which is artificial. Christ is actually real, but Jesus is just a man figure. His original name was Arius, and that was actually spoken about by Dr. Ray Hagins in terms of his
Hmm.
true identity regarding Christianity. The oldest Christianity, believe it or not, is the Ethiopian Coptic religion. That's the oldest Christianity ever existed. And by the way, Egypt was actually founded by Ethiopia.
Wow.
It started in Ethiopia and it migrated northward to become the Egypt that you see today. So it's in Ethiopia where things have started, where civilization started. And a lot of the
Ethiopia.
evidence, yep, a lot of the evidence are found in these various places in Ethiopia. Um, there's a woman that they have found years ago. I forgot the woman's name, but they discovered there was a black woman millions of years ago that existed, and she is of melanated melanin. So the real chosen people on this planet is the melanated people. Um, we are given a great deal of superiority. And I'm not saying we are superior to other races. I'm just saying that was what the Creator has given us. We have the ability to run. The way our thinking is different. The way we walk is different. The way we sing is different. Um, And most of all, we are the greatest inventors of this planet. At almost 95%, and I'm just estimating, it's not an exact statistic, but almost everything on this planet it was created by either a black woman or a black man. One thing that I left out.
Now, Chief Zulu, yeah, before you continue, we have people here watching, and I want to ask you, anyone who has a question, just to comment here, and then Chief Zulu will see the question and answer about it, because I've seen some people have different views, and allow me first to welcome Dina, Aurelia, Med Moisel, Jude, Sinovia, Indigo, Edward, Baba, Wadram, and many more. We have African Streamline are here. So if you have any question, kindly just write your question here, and then Chief Zulu is here to tell us the secrets, hidden secrets of Caucasian. Chief, let's go.
Sure. One thing I failed to mention is I am also an author of a book that I'm actually creating, finished, just completing. You may have already, you don't know, but I'm just going to say it. I wrote a book long ago. It was all over the place. It was a book called Survival of the Fittest. Survival of the Fist. It was written by me. I have took the book offline because I wanted to kind of change some things around. But the book is about the history of America, the inventors that are known or not known, the famous pioneers that made America the way it is, all the way from individuals who got NASA's space shuttle into space to the first black man or the first black woman who won the NASCAR race. I mean, it's just the first black man in Nigeria who created the computers, the first black man who created the internet that we have today, the first black man that actually created the video games. All of these brothers are known out there, but most people don't know. So what I did was I created a book to pretty much create it like a little small timeline, a space-time continuum. You get into this book, you read the book, and you go back there and you see all the greats, even the Native Americans, the cowboys, the black cowboys that existed, the various Native Americans who owned the Louisiana Purchase before it was sold illegally to America. All of that is in this book that I'm actually developing, and I'm just finalizing it right now. So I have a brother, because one person has asked, expand on the mentionetter. What if I tell you there's a brother long ago when Napoleon and a few other Caucasians went out there to visit Egypt? It was a brother by the name of Champollion. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but it was years ago. He was the first brother to actually understand hieroglyphs on the wall. And from that point, he sold all of the alphabets of the hieroglyphs to the public, people like E.A. Wallace Budge, who wrote the Book of the Dead. Now, I encourage everybody to look at the Book of the Dead. If you read the Bible, then you definitely have to go and read the Book of the Dead. My best recommendation is to read Mawada Ashby's book, which is very clear, and he breaks it down in his book so that you can understand the Metronetta. There's a brother by the name of Dr. Phil Valentine that has a class on the Metronetta, and he teaches Metronetta. The alphabets to the phonics and everything else, that language. I owe a lot to this brother because Dr. Phil Valentine is a man of good knowledge. I mean, heavy knowledge. There's a brother right now that actually speaks the Metroneta right now, and he understands hieroglyphs. His name is Omar Buckley. He goes by, and his business is Ram or March. You can go on Instagram and look him up. And he can do, he commissioned my painting, which is great. He also makes clothes. He makes purses. He makes shoes. Um, he makes robes. A whole host of clothing line from ancient Egyptian. And the brother, me and him share a great deal of knowledge. But I also wanted to provide a lot of some more information about what you know. See, now that you understand that most Caucasians are here to deceive the world, because that's mainly it. And in a nutshell, when you go to work, you work for them and so forth. A lot of people don't, most of them just don't know how to be compassionate. Most of them, not all of them, just most of them. Um, they fired me a couple of times just for misunderstandings. You know, and if they lived in the communities in the black neighborhoods, if they understand how we lived, then they wouldn't do the things that they would do. And I'm tired of hearing what they talk about. I say practice what you preach. You know, I'm one of those kind of individuals that say, I don't want to hear all what you have to say. I don't want to hear no apologies. I want to see it for myself. I want to see it by your actions. Your actions is going to tell me that if you're sincere or not. No, I don't want no money from you. I don't want nothing from you. I just want to see that you are a changed person, that you can be the person that you want to be, not trying to act out and say, oh, I just want to be black, but I don't want to be, I want to be black, but I don't want to be black. You get what I'm getting at? They don't want to be you. And the reason why they don't want to do that is the psychology. And that's why I gave you Frances Cress Wilson, because she speaks to us about the psychology of Caucasian people and how they think. If you look at the ISIS papers, from what she's written, it breaks down the psychology of Caucasian people. Um, you can look at the Phil Donahue. Just simply go on YouTube, type up Frances Cress Wilson Donahue show. She was way before her time, and she tried to bring it out there to try to, create a group conversation and try to help them understand why they do the things that they do. Some people know that they do, and they put that white card out there, just to say, I know I'm doing it because I know that I can get away with it. They understand that the system is for them and not for anybody else. And that's the way it's been operated. Please understand, again, I'm not here to offend anyone, but what I'm about to say next is really going to blow a horn. So you already know that James Stewart III is the one that wrote the Bible. You already know that the Bible comes from many books. Most of them come from Egypt. Book of Gates, Book of the Dead, Book of the Divine Cow, the Pyramid Texts, of the Book of Yasser, the Book of Enoch. All of those are a derivative of books that was actually taken from to create this one so-called book. The Nicene Council 325 is what started this mess. They got a group of Jesuits to go out to the world, and they posed themselves as missionaries, and they sit around and they try to spread the gospels. When in reality, they're only trying to destroy what you know as a culture so that they can implement this Christianity and be able to and put this Jesus out there so that you will follow. And the sole reasoning for that is they know that most melanated people's energy is to the source. We are of that source. We always communicate to the source. We get everything from the source, from the the flower, the food that grows on the earth, from the air that you breathe in, and so forth. But they want to cut that string that you have, and they want to put your primary focus on this Jesus, just so that they can distract you from the true knowledge and the true history of Christ. Christ do exist. Christ, actually is in every one of us. And as I said in my introduction, you have to know thyself. If you know thyself, then you will receive all of these things that you haven't learned in the physical. We want things to be taught to us physically, but there's people like me that can actually understand what's happening and actually kind of translate it. That's why I'm talking to most people on a Christian level, because that's all they know. All they know is Christianity. They don't want to know anything outside the Bible. But I'm telling you, the Bible that you're listening to is actually ancient Egyptian text. And I just gave you multiple examples of that. Now, the letter J, Jesus, did not exist since the 16th century. Before the 16th century, the letter J never was even thought of. So who the hell is Jesus? What was his original name? Oh, Yahweh. But then Yahweh is an actual African creator. So why would Yahweh be used and to create this Jesus reality? When reality, it was Arius before that. Again, look at Dr. Ray regarding the Christianity, who found Christianity. So I hope I'm not losing you. But let's see, there's other things that I want to talk about.
You're not losing us.
The American flag. Let me go back.
Mhm.
And, I wanted, because I was contemplating on what I wanted to say about the American flag. The
Before
American
before you
flag,
before you go to American flag, there's a question here. Afran Streamland asked this question. My big question is, who were the first people on the face of Earth? I think, did you talk about that?
who was the first what?
First people on the face of Earth.
Of what?
Earth, the face of the Earth. I mean, who were the first people?
The first people was black people.
Black
That's,
people.
I mean, just straight up, the melanated people.
Mm.
We derived from Ethiopia. They migrated to Egypt and created these, the Egyptian temples as you see today.
Okay.
Then, when Egyptian fell, the people.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah, I can. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, Nigeria and so forth all over through Africa. I don't know what you missed, but basically, black people have moved all throughout the all four sides of the planet. Now, you're gonna like this part. India was once Africa. Asia was once Africa. Million of years ago. Um, Again, Africa is known for multiple subjects: mathematics, karate, science, and so forth. So the original man was a melanated individual, a black man, a Moor. Uh, so that answers the question in terms of who was the first people. And by the way, proof of that is you've heard of Lucy. That's the name I was trying to remember. Uh, there was another name for that, but she was actually found in Ethiopia. And there's many other people like her scattered all over the world that were melanated people. And when they tested her to see what the age of those bones were, they were longer than 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 years, giving you proof that that is melanated people. So and then when they say these things about, oh, we come from monkeys and apes and stuff like that, when you listen to what a Caucasian is speaking, they project that to you, trying to cause you to believe what they say. Because again, that's what the church is for. The church is for you to believe what you hear. And belief is basically you don't know. You just have no clue. That's why they put that believe crap out there. So I don't know if you can see the camera. I've been having issues with the camera, but you can hear me, right?
I can hear you,
I
but
can
you have
hear you,
issues with
but
the
you have
camera.
issues with the camera.
You are stuck.
You are stuck.
Okay.
Okay.
I was
I
let me
was,
let me
let
let me log off and log
log
back
off and log back
because I'm on the cell
because I'm
phone.
on the cell phone.
Okay. Golden boy.
Golden boy.
Uh, thank
Thank,
thank you all for being
thank you
here.
all
I
for
see
being here.
Night
I
Night.
see Night. I see
Aurelia Dina, I
Aurelia
see
Dina.
Jude,
I
I
see
see
Jude.
Gideon, Wadram,
Wadram.
Lukman. Thank you
Thank you
for joining.
for
Sonia,
joining.
thank you.
Sonia, thank you.
Let's bring back
Let's
Chief
bring
Zulu.
back Chief Zulu.
Okay.
Now, before Chief Zulu continues, I have some questions. Actually, it is a one question. So I wanted
Go
to
on.
ask about
God.
the Middle East. So was Middle East in Africa?
Middle East is Africa. As I said before, even Israel is Africa. India is Africa. Asia, parts of Asia is Africa. Because, as a matter of fact, you've heard of Asiatics. Most of our people are Asiatics. In fact, let me break this down to give you more proof. Almost every country in the world, in the southern regions, are all indigenous people. You don't see them. The media never reports them. Prime example, Anu is in Japan. Black is they. Beautiful black brothers and sisters over there. Australia, Aborigines, Hawaii, Russia, believe it or not, has many black Russians that were natives to that land. There are African people scattered all over the world that are just not mentioned. You're not going to see about it. The Black Madonna, which was the original Christ. Before the Black Madonna, it was actually Asa and Heru, which is a derivative of what you now call Mary and Jesus. Um, the importance of traveling is vital for Black people. I express traveling as a must because you need to go and see these things for yourself. Cambodia, for example, has plenty of Black Asians there living. In almost every part of the globe, they're either poor or they're just trying to make it the next day. Even in Egypt, the Kush people still exist to this day. They're living in what they call as Aswan, Egypt. They were cut off from Egypt because they didn't want them to make money. But before that, the Kush people used to live in a land where agriculture was great, it was rich and everything, and they were banished from their own land. And it's amazing because almost every country that exists where Black people have had land is either being taken or annexed. That's the key word, annexed. And they try to make it out on their own. Even Israel. Israel didn't exist until the UN granted the land, stole the land from the Palestinians, banished them to what they now know is the Gaza Strip or what have you. But they used to run that part of that side. And by the way, there were white Jews and black Jews together in harmony. But when the UN granted that, aka the League of Nations, y'all should go out there and read about that in terms of how the United Nations was started. That's how Israel became Israel today. So they never occupied that land. Everything that you've heard about the Jews and how they were led by this Moses going to this great land is actually a falsehood. Now, the true history, the true knowledge is in those Egyptian temples. That is your Bible. I encourage everybody to visit Egypt before they, eradicate the knowledge and, pretty much make it try to look like theirs and so forth, or they'll pastor Christ, Jesus on there to make it look like it's old, but the temples themselves stand out greater because they've been out there longer than 20,000 years. But the knowledge is there. Everything from the baptismal pool to the tree of life. And by the way, the fairy tale of Adam and Eve, Atom, which is an atom, Atom, that's where they derived that from as the beginning of human beings, and this taking a rib out of him to make a woman, which is also false. The whole purpose of the Ankh that I'm wearing right now, you may not see it. The Ankh of eternal life is basically a symbol of a woman. So it was the woman who is this missing Holy Spirit. They replaced her with Holy Spirit, Father, Son. Well, where's the woman? The woman was actually the goddess that created life that we see today.
Like you are saying, they replaced the Holy Spirit from she to he.
Correct. And they made it a patriarch when in reality it was a matriarch. In fact, the planet Gaia is what you probably know. It's actually Newt. And Newt was the goddess who created everyone behind her. She was a symbology from the sacred womb to give birth to the cultures that we see today on this planet. Everything is cosmic. The melanin itself is cosmic in nature. Our energy is electromagnetic energy. If you sit down in a quiet space, you will know when your pineal gland is not decalcified or calcified. I might be pronouncing it. When it's calcified, you will know based off of what you hear in your ear. You might take it as it's a ring in the ear, when reality it's not. That's your actual frequency, your electromagnetic frequency. But then you have these devils, the evil devil of the people that try to hijack their energy. They spring chemtrails in the sky to divert your energy so that you won't be tied to the source. But little did they know, when you go to sleep at night, your soul leaves the body temporarily just to go back to the source, get the information that you need that you've been trying to answer for a while. And it brings the information back from the source back to your body. And then when you wake up, you're like, oh man, I just got my answer to my problems. That's how your prayers are being answered. So when you challenge that energy,
For example, let me tell you this. For example, sometimes I may be sleeping and then I dream of something. And then one day when I'm just walking, I see the exact thing I dreamt about. You get me? How is it like that?
Because our melanin knows space and time. That's
okay.
We are spiritual people. It's one of those gifts that are given. See, do you know that you're only using 6 or 7% of your brain, but the entire part of your brain is really more of a telepathic. There's other 5 senses that you don't use, but they come online when they need to, and that's actually pretty cool. Because if we did use our brain 100% of the time, we wouldn't be suffering the way we would be suffering right now as a black, a race. So yes, there is when they need to come online, you have those psychic abilities that come online at the right time, then it turns off. Because again, you'd probably be going crazy if you don't understand your surroundings. That's the purpose of shamans. Shamans are there to sit there and guide you through these ethers so that you don't get lost, or you can know when to come back. You always need someone there to actually help you to come back. That's the purpose of shamans. But yes, I know I jumped on the bandwagon there, and I'm probably just skipping through multiple sources of knowledge. But let me continue about the American flag. There's a lady. Can you hear me first?
I hear you perfectly well.
Great. I'm actually going through
You
my
are,
notes. Yes, I'm going
yeah,
through.
okay, okay.
Stand by. There was a 13-year-old girl. I think her name is Grace Wisher. Grace Wisher. And try to mute your mic because I'm hearing echo. Okay, there's a lady by the name of Grace Wisher. She was a 13-year-old black servant here in America that helped Mary construct the American flag. But little did America know that the American flag actually derived from ancient Kemet. It was a throne. I wish I can, let's see if I can share some, actually I'm unable to, but I have to show you at a later time. Whenever you invite me again, I can show you. If you just type in, actually, I just got you. If you type in on Google or Bing, I don't like Google because Google is evil. Bing or DuckDuckGo.
Google is evil.
Google is evil. If you look at the symbol Chrome, it says 666 on it. It's right in your face. The actual icon of Google Chrome is 666. But again, you can take that and they are, because almost everything that these Caucasians use, they demonize it. They just demonize it to make it look like it's evil. But in reality, 666 is embedded in you. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. 1 + 8 = 9. Everything always go back to the number 9. And if you think about it, the number 9 is a woman, feminine. Feminine is the breakdown. See, so they give you 666 to make it look like it's evil to you. And actually 666 is the makeup of melanin, or partly of melanin. When reality, it's actually a woman. We all carry that matriarch within us, that creator of all things within us. And that's why it's been given to the superior people, to us. We're able to discern, we're able to observe, we're able to do a lot of things to make us the people that we are today. The American flag came from the Egyptian throne. You may know George Washington as the first president of the United States. Little did most people know there were presidents before George Washington. And by the way, Washington was not his name. It was actually Washington with an E in the second letter of the alphabet. It turned into Washington because by that time he was a general in the late 1700s. While he was a general, he owned a lot of black slaves and took on the name Washington because one of the slaves actually was named Washington at the time. Now, during those times, those slaves were part Native Americans and actually original people of this land. And by the way, before anybody asks, how can you determine the color of a Native American? Native American is not actually what you think it is. It's also black in color, just like myself, and they're scattered all over America. But again, that history, that part of history has been, they try to scrub it out. so that you won't think that, oh, you just came from Africa. You actually are African American, when reality, you are native to this land and you are the great grandfather of Africa that you see today. And this is some of the reasons why some of us aren't accepted in the country of Africa, because they think that we're Europeanized and so forth. That's all blah blah blah, because they've been listening to the Europeans too much. The real true folks are here in this land that sit down, do research, and try to understand where they come from and know they have this knowledge, internal knowledge. You're not going to hear them on the YouTubes, because I don't have a social media account, nor do I have a YouTube, but I am the founder of Chakra Radio Productions, in which I actually had a blog talk show, blog talk radio show, where I speak a lot about this information and provide the sources on the internet. But it kept getting hacked, and obviously there's hatred from other folks making it look like I'm cuckoo. But in reality, I know thyself. I know who I am. I am that I am. And I am a live person. I'm not a corporate individual. I am a fierce warrior. So now I go out there and I actually do the homework, and I try to provide the sources to people to help them understand, so that they don't have to go out there and try to find this information. I try to make sure that I have that and provide the sources. So yes, the George Washington. If you can just type it up, George Washington is not the original name of so forth. In fact, the first Black president that existed was John Hanson. It was never Barack Obama. And by the way, he was Kenyan. That's his native blood. He was not an American citizen. But we won't go there neither, because the whole history is still screwed up with America today. But John Hanson was a homegrown brother back in the early late 1600 to 1700. And then there was other presidents that followed along with that before George Washington came about. Now, how George Washington became the person that he was, guess what he did? Not only he had Black slaves, he was actually one of the founding individuals that founded the Masonry that you see in Alexandria, Virginia. He created that temple. But how he got that? How did he have that knowledge? Well, he visited a tomb in Egypt called the Tomb of Mariuka. And in that tomb, there were brothers that had the triangle apron in that tomb. And as of today, that tomb has been sealed off, because it was said that they only wanted the Masons to come and visit that. You had to be part of the craft to come and visit. But if you just type up the Tomb of Mariuka, you will see those brothers in these long aprons, and they trying to whiten them up to make it look like he wasn't Black, but it's not. The person that designed Washington, D.C. is a brother by the name of Benjamin Banneker. He designed the entire Washington, D.C. area. After that, no more talk about Black people are lazy and dumb and all this other crap. Here's another one that I'm going to throw at you. There were 3 Black Wall Streets that existed in America. One was in Durham, North Carolina. One was in what is called, it was in Florida. I'm trying to think the name of it. And they changed the name to, It's outside of Orlando, but they changed the name. Rosewood, it was what it was originally called, but then they changed it to another city so that you wouldn't know the actual history. And then lastly, it was Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma, all 3 of these was thriving. You had Black folks literally having business. They were lawyers, they had churches, they had courthouses, they had plenty of schools, groceries, all by Black people. And they just came together. They created their own currency. They even circulated this currency worldwide for a time. Then it took someone that was jealous, and they saw these black people thriving. These guys came from the war. They did not like what they saw. They was very upset, very distraught. These were military men and women, mostly men. And they saw these successes of these black people, and they went on ahead and divulged a way to find, to make it look like something started for them to attack. It took a woman to be on this elevator, this black man, along with this white dude, and surprisingly, a white woman, excuse me, something happened with the elevator, and this white woman assumed that this black man was attempting to rape her. It's always something about rape, with these people. And then word got out that this was going on in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Then these white military men decided to invade Tulsa, Oklahoma, dropping bombs from their planes and pretty much destroying everything that black people have built. So what the point that I'm trying to make here is we've tried to work together. The system is created here in America to break us apart because they know that the moment we come together, we become viable and we can do major things. We become the architects of this time. We become the school teachers of the time. No, but they will not leave us alone. We're never in peace here in America. We're very loving people here. We don't hate. We do what we have to do to survive, and we are the greatest survivors on this planet. Even with me, I've been fired multiple jobs over something that's stupid, misunderstanding. And, these are all Caucasian men. They just simply want what they want. They have this attitude that they are above you, and they the slave masters and you are the slave to them. This is the plantation. So I just I have developed the mindset of, okay, I'm tired of turning the other cheek because simply these people just don't have any soul, and that's clear. Because if they had a soul, they would have compassion for people. They wouldn't be destroying the trees. They wouldn't be disrupting the water. They wouldn't be destroying the food. They wouldn't take over parts of Africa just to have gas so they can take your resources and sell it worldwide. They wouldn't do any of those things. They would learn to work with people. How can you coexist as a race? But yet you want to deal with the grays, you want to deal with the aliens out in space, you want to do all of that, and you can't deal with the people here in this planet. That's a problem. And that's because they simply don't understand their true identity. They are created. They are non-humanoid individuals. They want to think that they're human. Their ego says that they are human, but in actuality, they're not. And they need to understand that it's part of their nature to be destructive. It's part of their nature to go out there and take people's resources. It's their nature to go out there, say all these bad things. They can say, I'm sorry all day, but the actions speak louder than words. The actions is what tells everybody in the world, okay, you are a worthy individual. You will make it. You will be blessed. And, you got people like Jane Elliott. She's very compassionate. I would go out there and take a look at her videos. Brown Eye, Blue Eyes, the one that I provided you. People like Gerald Mancy, the light of the world, who actually gives you the truth of what he saw in the temples. White guy, John Adams, read about him. Very good individual to look at in his works. And so if it comes from these people, one thing you don't want to do is actually shy away from the knowledge. You want to always listen. Take note of the information that's being provided because that's the information that's given to you. It was always yours. I don't own this information. Nobody owns this information. Nor should you have to pay for this information. And that's why I am the book that I'm writing. I'm going to post it online and give people the chance to actually download it so they can obtain this knowledge. And it's going to be an online based kind of book so that you can actually do the homework right on your computer. So I have, like I said, I'm multi-talented. I am knowledgeable in the history. I'm knowledgeable in some politics. I'm knowledgeable, heavily knowledgeable in the metaphysical realm in terms of energy. The things that deals with the pineal gland, the electromagnetic energy. I gave you a video clip on Instagram that showed this Caucasian pastor that went out his way and actually was able to obtain the electromagnetic energy from the stars, showing you the harmony of the universe. It's giving out all these very sounds. He had to slow it down just so that he could understand in his ear. But when he was able to bring all of those sounds together, you actually hear the African music in there. You actually hear the drums. And it goes back to what the Dogon tribe has been trying to bring out for a long time. Letting you know way before NASA even existed where Sirius A and Sirius B came from. And this is without telescopes. This is without the normal instruments that we use. These people were already before their time. Is there any questions?
Any questions? Golden Boy, any question? And for all who are watching, any question, please?
Yeah, thank you, Chief Zulu, for talking about issues about the black people. Now, I want to ask about, do you think the white people are aliens? Because I recently saw a video from Kenyan Beast who a white person was trying to confess and trying to give some facts about the white people, stating that these people are actually aliens and not real human beings.
When you listen to these individuals that make that claim, this is why I go back to discernment. If this white boy came from space, don't you think that he would be consumed? Even if it was tall whites, they would still be consumed. You see, part of the law of the universe is the law of correspondence, as below, so above. Again, they'll take it and demonize what that means, but that's actually the universal law. So below, as above. If people are looking up there in church, these pastors go out there, they know this knowledge. The pastor knows this knowledge, but they don't want to teach it because they know that the money is coming in and they can steal it and use it for all kinds of things. Here's my question. What does God need with the money? What does God need with a church? You see, church started outside. It was never a brick and mortar. It was always taught outside. And you receive a great deal of energy outside. And while you were out there in church, you was actually barefoot so that you can grab the energy from the ground to elevate your energy up to the Most High. And by the way, when you look up there, the heaven is there. All the heaven is black. It's melanin. There's no white anywhere in there, up there. And if you're thinking about the brightness of a star that looks white, well, let me break down. Did you know that the sun is actually a star? The sun that we get the vitamin D from. This is the reason why we're so blessed. If you're a sun gazer like myself on occasions, if you stare at the sun between the hours of 6 and 9 or 4, somewhere around there, during the horizon, if you stare at it long enough, you'll see that the sun turns from yellow to white to black. And why is it black? Well, the sun is giving off so much vibration, so much energy that it turns white. And that's what's in all of us. That's each and every one of us. Every time that we direct our energy, our vibration speeds up and we become brighter. That's why when you go and meet people, ooh, I know you before, but you've never seen that person before. Ooh, somehow you got a great aura about you. It's something about your aura because they see that light that's coming off of you. They see that rainbow spirit. If give you proof of that. Put your arm against the sun, and if you look very closely at your hairs, it gives off a color off of the rays on your hairs, your melanated hairs. It comes out as rainbow color. That's the auric field that's actually given off from you. So when you hear these Germans, because I saw the video, they make this, they proclaim that they come down here and they took over and make this a mission that we're here to steal your land and do all of that. No, that was what's in their spirit. That was already embedded in them when they were actually created. That's why I said most of these Caucasians were created to be warlike individuals. If they actually came from space, they would be consumed. If you put a Caucasian man or woman into a dark room, this is the reason why they came up with these horror films, they would be immediately scared. If a Caucasian man were to die today, man or woman, they would turn black after death. They wouldn't be white. See, that's the science that you don't hear about. They don't want to talk about that. In fact, most of them are scared of death because they know they don't understand where they're going to go. They thinking they're going to heaven. Oh shit, we're going to go to heaven. God is going to give me all this. No, if you were created by a man, how do you know that you actually going to go to heaven? In fact, little did you know, all of your actions that you do here on this earth, you create your own heaven and you create your own hell. Look at the Book of Enoch. Book of Enoch explains it in depth of these various heavens. So no, they did not come from no Sirius B or whatever. That's nonsense. There's no proof of that because every time, I'm gonna give you some proof. There was a woman that was found on the moon, and it was actually found by an Apollo spacecraft. They visited the moon, actually, not that crap with the waving flag and shit like that. This is stuff that they do behind the scenes, or they have these teleportation machines and they go out there to the moon and back. They don't want to let you know about it because they reverse engineer every damn UFO that comes down here, or they'll use portals to go there and come back. This is knowledge that has been proven by many military, black military individuals. So yes, there's a woman that was found on the moon. You type up, it's on YouTube. You might be able to find it on YouTube. I think it was Apollo 26 or Apollo something, some Apollo spacecraft, where they actually showed a picture of this woman that had that was dead and had a crash landed. Because there's crafts that always crash land into the moon. They decided to visit this craft and they saw this woman that had locks in her hair. Messed me up. This was shown by Dr. Dilbert Blair a long time ago, back in 2011. When I first saw it, it was just astonishing to me what she looked like. And I actually felt a connection just by looking at the picture. And you see, when you look at these pictures give off energy. This is part of the reason why you have the Vodun, you have the Yoruba, you have various different cultures around the world. They have these pictures laying around because it gives off energy from it. AKA, that's the reason why they make the Ghostbusters. If you look at Ghostbusters Part 2, when Vigo with the guys looking like he a Viking, they're trying to mimic the energy from how we see it and how we perceive it. We can look at a picture and we instantly get a connection from it. You can go to the museums, the greatest museums. The one that I like to go to is the Louvre Museum in Paris and the museum in England, in London. They have these temples, these tombs that show these Egyptians. And if you go past them, if you have that connection to the universe, they will literally talk to you. Nobody else will hear it, but you can. And that's one thing about us melanated folks. This is the reason why we are the masters of spirituality. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to be a yogi. We don't have to be a shallow monk to sit down and just meditate, because all you got to do is freaking close your eyes and you automatically, instantly go into another place. You don't have to work as hard. Why? Because the spirituality works through melanin. You want to know how these space shuttles get back into the planet? How they actually safely get back to the planet? There's a Black woman by the name of Henrietta. They took that woman's cells, her cells, because it was immortal. And these scientists was loving it. They thought that she was rich in that resource. They used her melanated cells to put the black portion on the back of the space shuttles, so that when it re-enters in the planet's atmosphere, the troposphere, it wouldn't burn up and crash. It's the melanin on that craft that shields them from coming back. So when you say this German guy came from Sirius B, you can tell that he's lying, because he knows something that you don't. And what he knows is what I'm telling you, exactly where they come from. A lot of these white folks, a lot of these Caucasians, these so-called white folks, are set worshipers. Even in Israel, you might call me anti-Semitic for this. And by the way, Semitic means half black, half white. So to be anti-Semitic is impossible, because I'm black. Why would I be anti-self? So, excuse me. Why would I be anti-self? I know who I am. And the only reason why they say anti-Semitic is because they don't want you to get the best of them, because they don't have that type of knowledge. But most of those Jews in Israel today, they practice what they call as the Book of Talmud, not Judaism, which is in Jesus Christ. They believe in Jesus, and certainly not the Kabbalah, because Kabbalah is our stuff. That came from Kemet. And that's all it is the chakras from root to the crown chakra, the Calvary, is another name for it. Even the medical doctors today, when you see the staff and the wings, that came directly from Egypt. All that is just your back. That's your spinal cord. And the snakes that go around it, in different directions, that's just your DNA. And every time that you meditate, you go from the root. And for a woman, it's from the crown down. For a man, it's from the root up. When you meditate, you actually using that chi energy to elevate your crown chakra, and it vibrates. And it doesn't stop there. You have 12 other additional chakras that goes all the way out to the universe. So when you out there praying, and you pray to yourself for what you want, you pray for discernment, etc. Every time that you meditate and you direct your channel to that source, you actually elevate your consciousness to your higher self. There's a lower self and there's a higher self, and there's supposed to be a balance. He doesn't have that. That's a long answer.
Yes,
That's
thank you.
a long answer.
That's a long answer.
Thank you.
for that.
Thank you for that.
Okay, let me talk Kenyan Beast. I want to ask about this issue of do you think there's those people went there? Do you think there's an existence of space, like that people went to space? Because I've gathered the information, and they're saying that there's actually nobody who went to moon, nobody who went to space, because what is it's below, it is what is above. Like when we have oceans below, we also believe that there's oceans above, and this means that there's a dome. A dome to mean that those spacecraft cannot pass through that dome. So do you think that there's someone, or there's these are just things which were lied to Africans, that there are actually people who went to moon, that actually people went to space?
I can answer that one. Well, I'm going to try to shorten it that way I don't drown you with information. First thing first, Dr. Phil Valentine speaks of Earth as an infinite plane. I wouldn't call it flat. I'm not a flat earther kind of guy. I mean, I don't get into all that. But I do know that there's one that's called, it's an infinite plane. No matter, I don't know how long it extends. We don't, I'm sure we have the technology to kind of measure how big this planet is, but just know that it's not round the way they proclaim it to be. Everything got to be round for some apparent reason. That's just like I was telling you about the Peters projection. But getting back to your point, the sun and the moon actually is not too far from the atmosphere of this planet. That's why you were able to see it. And the 9 other planets also is included in that elliptical cycle. So you may not be able to see it, but sometimes during the Big Dipper, you might be able to see a few planets, so forth and so forth. What's keeping the water where it is gravity. And apparently you have Sirius A, B, and C. C is the gravity, the core, the Earth core that sits deep beneath us. Did you know on the other side of that core, there's other civilizations that we are not aware of? Some people call it, oh, it's the Antarctica wall. The truth of it came from the UN. If you look at the map, it actually shows the various different countries. You can scarcely see it, but if you look at it close enough, there's other countries outside of the 7 continents that they don't speak about. That's here on this planet. That's why I call this the infinite plane. It's not flat Earth whatsoever. So there's other countries beyond the 7 continents that we are aware of. You are right. The Bible speaks of a firmament that's being placed. You see, during the flower of life, if you know what that is, you can just type it up on Google on Bing or DuckDuckGo. At some point, our nature, we were in harmony with the flower of life. Somehow that was broken, and we got thwarted into this physical, and it manifested itself into this human being that we are today. But we were once gods, we were once goddesses, we were all doing our thing. That's the reasoning for the actual Bible of the Egyptians. They were trying to describe the cosmos and how time became time, how the planets became the planets, and so forth and so forth. It's written all over the walls throughout Egypt, but you'll get most of that in the Book of the Dead. But it is a firmament. It's made out of electromagnetic glass. Part of this glass can be found in Libya. Some of these were founded by these intelligence, and they were pretty much they can view it at NASA just to kind of determine the material, but it's a resource not known to this planet. So yes, there is a firmament over that you can call it a dome, you can call it a shield, but it's to protect us from out there. And it's not that it's bad or anything, but it's more like you have so many souls that want to come down here and they all try to become human. They want to live this human experience. They want to be a part of this greater evolution that's happening down here. It is God's best creation. Now, did you know there's multiple Earths out there in the universe? We're just in one galaxy. There's multiple galaxies. It's infinite. It's almost impossible for you to explore every last one of them because it's just too many of them. But the good news is your soul is millions of years old. That's why they say, man, you have an old spirit. I know you hear that from elders a lot. You have an old spirit. You have an old soul. That's because it is. It's your soul is beyond your actual human age at this point. Now, the shield, what's above that shield? What's above that firmament? It's actually water. The Bible speaks about the major flood. It actually was a flood here on this planet. The ancient Egyptian speaks about that because if you go if you go there to some of those temples, most of the temples there are flooded even to this day. Some of them are being recovered, they're being reconstructed, or somehow moved away from the water. Even Set's temple was underwater at one point in time. However, you do have man that did alter the flow of the Nile River. It used to go, if I recall, it used to go from north to south. Somehow the water is moving from south to north, which is actually disrupting the ecosystem throughout the entire planet. No different from the Canal River in Egypt, no different from the Panama Canal. As soon as you disrupt the ecosystem, you're disrupting the entire climate throughout the planet. So what used to be cold in one place is actually warm, and what used to be warm used to be cold. So beyond the electromagnetic firmament is actually water. And if anyone have looked up to the cosmos long ago, maybe 20 years ago, you used to see a Milky Way. There was a crack there. The Milky Way is the crack. I think it's called the Shooter or something like that. Shooter or something of that extent. Someone once told me that. But it was a crack there. That same crack is where the flood occurred there. And it was sealed by the Creator itself. That's why it's called the Milky Way. That's actually not what it is, but it was a crack. That shield now is actually fully tight now. Now, to give an example of anyone out there that don't believe me, Elon Musk just launched a space shuttle, a test space shuttle, not long ago. It was a test shuttle. He called it, I just want to do a test and I want to, destroy it. When in actuality, what he really did was actually launch this spacecraft as far as he could just to see how far it would go. And when it crashed, it looked like, if you look at the impact, it looked like there was a ripple of water that happened above that shield. It's an actual firmament. So what he just did is he showed the entire world full disclosure that there is truly a firmament there. Nobody can just go out there beyond the shield and actually travel. Now, there are portals scattered all over the planet. You can get beyond that shield. There's people that come, many different extraterrestrials. And by the way, Caucasians are not extraterrestrial. They are interterrestrial. They were created here. They are not extraterrestrial. Understand that many of us are extraterrestrial. That's why we have the soul that we have. We can go beyond. We can go in warp speed. We can go wherever you want to go. And I'm sure each one of us has had a dream about the cosmos at some point. You dreamed about flying, seeing this planet, seeing all these multiple stars. No, you were actually joining with the ancestors, because in ancient Kemet, they tell you that when you look above, all of those stars are your ancestors. Those are your ancestors that you're speaking to. And these planets, believe it or not, they exist within the dome. And by the way, we are actually traveling like an engine. If you look at the Earth and the planets, and you look at how they, do their cycles around the sun, they always show you the vertical movement, but they never show you the horizontal of how the planets move around the Earth. And when you look at it closely, you can literally see the sun move in a DNA fashion, and it's traveling through the universe. This is the reason why we're actually moving into a new vibration. We're moving into a new paradigm, why we are removing ourselves from this third dimensional reality to a fourth and fifth dimensional reality. The energy is changing. Each one of us can feel it.
Now, there is a question here for you from Med Mosel. What do you think about them saying that Africa is splitting apart?
So, through eons of time, when America was once Africa, and now I did say that Africa was connected to America. If you look at Morocco, at the very tip of Morocco, you can see how Florida can actually fit in that area. And through many years, through the earth movement, the earth changes, the multiple earthquakes we've had, because the purpose of earthquakes is to allow the earth to expand. That's the purpose of earthquakes. It expanded to the continents that we see today. But all of these countries at one point in time was part of Africa. All of this. And the only reason why you have these multiple climates is because it's magnetic. The energy is magnetic. This is the reason why the Earth is on its axis, 30 degrees, so forth. This is the reason why you have the Christ energy. When you see the moon and the stars, they cross. That's where the cross comes from. And Christianity stole it, and they made it into a graven image to make it look like it's actually Christianity, when actually it's talking about the horizon and how the sun and the stars intertwine with each other, forming a cross. But yes, it's just the expansion of the planet, and that's the reason why you see the separate parts of Africa that you see. Now, this so-called Middle East, that's false. Don't believe that crap. That used to be Africa. Saudi Arabia is Africa. It's actually in the Bible, called you heard of the Euphrates River. You heard of Iran. You heard of Iraq. That also is Africa. A lot of our Arab brothers and sisters up there reside there, and they're continuing their legacy up there. Those are our long distance cousins. Turkey, you've heard of that. That is part of Africa. These are things that you just simply were not taught in school, but they want you to think that Middle East is separate. It's a continent of its own. India is a continent of its own. Asia, Indonesia, Japan, Korea. Korea and Japan was once one people before they split off and became Korea and Japan. So there's a lot of things that just aren't being said in your books, and it's all a source of control.
And I have a personal question here. This you talked about Christianity back when you started, and this question I always ask myself. Christianity, from the history, I learned that Christianity was brought to us, or to Africans. And when I think of that, that means that if Christianity was brought to us, that means that there's a way we were worshiping the Creator, or there's a way we were communicating with the Creator before Christianity. So does that mean that the way we were worshiping the Creator back then before Christianity was bad, or does that mean that they took away our originality, or they took away our way of worshiping and installed theirs to ours.
When you think,
Oh,
you got mute
oh,
your mic.
you got mute your mic.
Okay. The best place to begin is to think about the intentions of these Caucasian people. Look at their intentions. Their sole purpose is to take and steal resources. That's the sole purpose. That's all they know. If they had compassion for what you've learned, to this day, you were speaking in your native tongue, and it wouldn't be a problem trying to find out if your communication to your creator is actually sound. But the whole purpose of Christianity to begin with, and this is created, by the way, it's not the organic Christianity from Ethiopia, because again, Coptic Christianity is where things started. That's the oldest Christianity ever existed, way before Rome, way before any of this crap. They just took that and created this new Christianity. That's why you have these non-denominationals, these denominationals, this Baptists, and all this crap. They put the religion out there for a source of control. That's all religion is. And the control aspect is they want you to channel your energy to an entity that is not the creator. They want you to rise your hands up, and pray. I'm gonna give you one good example. Pharaoh Ean, you've seen him before. He looks like a half man, half woman, so to speak. Did you know, out of 73 pharaohs that existed in Egypt, he was the only one that was erased from the walls of Kemet? Why? Because he was praying to the sun god, and he about defeating the Europeans from invading the land. And you know what? It took one general that saw that, because the Europeans were coming to invade, and he said, you know what? You're no longer the Pharaoh. We're going to wipe everything about you off of the face of this Egypt, and I'm going to go ahead and control it. And did you know this general was able to go ahead and defeat all of their enemies? His name was Ramses II. So Ramses, one of the two. That's where the Ten Commandments took it and made it look like he was an evil guy, when in reality he was all about banishing the Europeans from off that land. And so the reason why I say that is this: each one of us has a Christ energy within us. Whenever you need anything, if you know thyself, which is a main principle of the universal laws. I want everybody to go and type up the 7 universal hermetic laws: the law of cause effect, the law of correspondence, the law of duality, the law of there's a few other things I forgot. Those are the hermetic laws that were actually stemmed in Kemet to this day. And don't you know, they banished that from the world because they did not want you to learn that. That means Satan, did not want you to pray to your God. Now, the sole purpose of Satan, in my understanding, is Satan is here to pretty much provide the correction of what the original creator is trying to get you to do. Use Satan to do his evil works, to prove a point. Because a lot of our human beings don't understand what no means. They don't understand you can't do this, or the creator is asking you to behave yourself and actually do the works of the creator. But the purpose of Satan is pretty much to bring a balance. One cannot be without the other. And the creator understood that. And that's why you have Satan that exists today, to roam the planet, do all these things down here, just to prove a point. There's just some human beings that are just flat out bad and evil, and they will have their day. Then you have people that are naturally good, organically, and they want to do good things on this planet, and they just do the works. That's just the way life is. So when you have Christianity being brought there, that's mainly a distraction to prevent you from, uh, pretty much stop receiving what you have been receiving. That makes you to be the person that you are today. That's simply what it is. It's to disrupt your source, disrupt your identity, pretty much create a false identity and make you think that your life is in Jesus. If Jesus died for your sins, then why the hell then we have all this crap going on in this planet? If we should be in harmony by now. We shouldn't even be having no wars and stuff like that. You would have learned your lesson at this point, but you haven't, because it's been created to deceive you into thinking that that's the way, when in reality you have to look from within to get all your answers.
Wow. Any question from Golden Boy? I see you are writing notes. Golden Boy.
I have plenty to share. I mean, I haven't even got to, let's see, what I got here. I mean, it could be another time, another day, and I could provide you. I was going to provide the evidence of where the American flag came from so that you can see from yourself that it was actually not created by this merry person in America. It was actually stolen. And and that's what created the makeup of America. The U.S. Constitution. Yes, let me say that. The U.S. Constitution did not derive from the so-called founding fathers. Our founding fathers were actually the Native Americans who created the law, what is known as the Great Law of Peace. It was that doctrine that they derived the Constitution from. These folks in America decided to take that doctrine and make up the Constitution that you see today. So a lot of things, again, were created by melanated folks here in this land. We just don't receive credit for it. And it's now coming out because this is full disclosure. This is the year of truth. Our story has not been told properly. And you have people like myself that's willing to tell you this story because it's not being shown on YouTube. It's not being shown in history books. Most people don't even speak about it. They just don't do enough research.
Yeah, Kenyan BC is outside, I think. So I'll carry on. Now, thank you for giving out this lovely knowledge. Now, there is something that I want to talk about. Why do you think? What are the purpose of rebirthing? That is reincarnation. Why do you think that human beings reincarnate? Because I've seen a lot of reincarnation images, where even Mark Zuckerberg was one of them, who I saw he was. There were some images which were depicting that he was once here on Earth. So what do you think are the purposes of reincarnation?
Reincarnation. Is that what you mentioned?
Yes, rebirth. Yes.
All right. Whenever you can. Mute your mic. Okay. My reasoning, my understanding of what reincarnation is this. Each one of us was put here. We chose this body. We chose how we are going to live. It's a contract between you and the source. It's the oldest contract that's written. It's written in your DNA code. It's written in your soul, and it's your job to always maintain the purpose of why you're here. like I'm literally doing my purpose. I thought it was over because I've had two close life-threatening situations. One was COVID-19, where I never took the shot, but it was just a mere fact that I was around other people that were sick, and I almost had a near-death experience. And the other one is the high blood pressure situation. Um, I had edema formed in my brain. Uh, it created a small clot, and I actually slipped into a coma state. And with and it was a miracle, knowing that I still have much more to do on this planet. I'm still here. The miracle happened. It amazed all the doctors in the hospital because they thought I was gone. Um, and now I'm just a brand new person. The reincarnation is just like this, and I'm saying this. If you have not reached your consciousness at this point, meaning back in 2012 was the end of the Mayan calendar, it was there to justify that if you haven't reached your highest level of consciousness and be able to absorb the fourth dimensional and fifth dimensional energy that's coming, you will reincarnate back here. To some Caucasian folks, believe it or not, their justice, because they don't know judgment like most melanated people do. See, the melanated people, even in the Book of the Dead, speaks about the 12 judges, 12, the number 12. They varies between serpents and other things. Sorry, I got my kid trying to come in the door, through the door. And every day, melanated people are being judged in your heart. As your heart is weighed on the scales. Every time that you come up with a thought, it's being weighed on that scale. And you would know when you feel pressure, which is it means conviction. You'll feel a tightness in your heart telling you that what you're about to do is wrong and is not permitted. That's how you know you're being judged. That's the true judgment. Caucasian people, on the other hand, they were created artificially, and they don't know the difference between right and wrong. They only know it based on what they see and not by actual spirit. If they known about some of the things that they would have done, they would have been got convicted. And that's why you see what you see, why they think that they always get away with everything, because they aren't being judged like how we are being judged. This is what allow us to become how we are. This is how we know right from wrong, even when our mothers and fathers haven't even taught us. We haven't even begun to understand certain things. You know when you actually are in the right path, when things are not the norm. It's beyond the norm whatsoever. So that's the judgment hall. In the Book of the Dead, it describes how judgment is going to be when you die, who's leading you to heaven. You have to be judged first before you get into the kingdom of heaven. That portion was actually taken and put in the Bible to make you believe that, oh yeah, you're going to go and have this white castle. We're going to be in these white clouds and so forth. That's all hocus pocus at this point, because you know whenever you receive any kind of information, you have to have discernment. You have to have discernment, and that's one of the beauties of understanding and analyzing. And when you have discernment, you actually judge the knowledge that you're given, and you can tell whether it's good and bad. You can't deny what your inner self is saying. Your inner self might say, okay, that is appropriate. But sometimes our ego, which is the devil, believe it or not, is what takes over and said, don't believe that. Don't, that's not for you. And the moment you do that, you're already created a sin because you have to have an ear to hear. If you already had the ear to hear, you might as well get it all the way. So when it comes to reincarnation, if anyone have not managed their consciousness on this planet, they immediately reincarnate back down here on this planet immediately. And believe it or not, the reincarnation is the hell that Enoch had described in his book. That's the reincarnation. That's the one that Caucasians are afraid, because when some of them have done wrong to many different cultures on this planet, and they know they have. They know they have. They know that they can get away with it because they feel like they are superior. They have this superior attitude about them. But deep down inside, in the darkness, when they go to sleep at night, if they do go to sleep, if they have some sort of compassion, they are able to relive this hell that they are experiencing. And do you know what their true hell is? For every person that they have messed up with or destroyed or have taken a life or stole from, they have to live that person's life in the next life. That is torment in itself. And that goes for Black people too. You got a lot of us who think that they are a savior, but they are prone to that hell as well. If some of them don't have the energy to move on to the next life, they think they do. They might have the melanin. They know when they're wrong because they have that embedded with them. Their higher self constantly keeps telling them, "Hey, don't do it, don't do it," but they just keep on doing it. Some of them don't have a reason why they do it, and they reincarnate immediately back down to this. Meanwhile, the people that have done the works, they actually elevate and they become this star in the universe. And that's when you meet the ancestors. That's when they bring you in and they talk to you. You're downloading everything that you've learned. You get to take what you have learned and you move on to the next life. That's the beauty of it. That's why you will never see death. That's when the Bible speaks of when Jesus says that you will never see death if you do my works, meaning Christ. You do the works of Christ. You do the works of the Creator. You will move on to the next life with your knowledge intact. That way you will never forget what you've done in the past. And believe it or not, it's called the Akashic Records. Our Akashic Records are stored in our soul. For all the lives that you've lived is stored in that soul. The soul has 4 faucets. Dr. Mitchell Gibson in North Carolina speaks on the 4 faucets of the soul. That brother is deep too, as well. So that's how reincarnation works.
Wow. That's golden boy. You get your answer. Mute the mic.
Mute the mic.
Last, please. You mute your mic. I have the last question.
Let me mute my mic.
Okay, sorry for bothering you. First of all, I'd like to apologize. So we are here in Africa, we have been told that heaven and hell exist. And these are things which are being preached in churches. So there's someone who described only soul, that a soul can neither be destroyed or created. So do you think that when we go to hell, that our soul will one day be burned? Is this statement true? Because these are things which have been bothering us here in Africa, where you'll find that people are trying to follow the 10 commandments so that their soul cannot be burned in hell. Describe the thing about soul. Do you think it can be created or destroyed?
The soul can never be destroyed. The only individual, the only entity that can destroy your soul is actually you. You can, by simply signing up to the devil, by saying, okay, I give you blah, blah, blah. How can you give what's not yours to begin with? The soul belongs to the source. It's always belonged to the source. Everything that's created belongs to the source. Even everything that you think you have belongs to the source. All of the cars that you're driving, all the houses that you're living in, all that, it's all belonging to the source. That you didn't, all you know is you came down here in this body that you contracted with, that you signed up for. You were butt naked, all no clothes, okay? And somehow you think that you're human. No, you're just living a human experience. That's just flat out what it is. So no, the soul cannot be destroyed. It's immortal. You can't destroy an immortal soul. And by the way, soul means SOL, which means sun. So what you're looking at, when you look at the sun is providing us the vitamin D, you're looking at a soul that's providing the vitamin D. That's how we're able to arise. This is how we're able to do the things that we do on a daily basis. The moon, which is, it boosts the serotonin at night, and that's how you're able to dream. The sun is the serotonin, the moon is the melatonin. The melatonin is supposed to be elevated within you that allow you to dream that way you dream. Now, here's something that you probably never heard of before. In Rwanda, there was a massacre of Black people over the gold rush. They killed so many Rwanda people down there that they took them all and used these people for what they call as artificial melatonin today. A brother took this melatonin one time before, years ago, because he wanted to know how it works. And he woke up in a night sweat immediately. Lots of screams, nightmares, things beyond imagine. It's not melatonin, the artificial melatonin that you buy from the store is not meant for any Black person on this planet. If you have a difficulty in sleeping, just simply not worry about it. No, all of us are going through things that is beyond our control. And you just have to learn to be humble to it and learn, and understand that this is a learning experience. This is an opportunity for you to understand why you're going through the things that you're going through. A lot of us are not able to handle the things that's right in front of us. That's why some folks take themselves out. They commit suicide. You spoke about reincarnation. Did you know that the moment you commit suicide, depending on the situation, you already immediately go into hell? It's not always the brimstones, the fire. It's actually reliving that same life over and over again until you, at some point during those multiple lives, understand what you did. And that's how you actually are giving grace and mercy from the Creator to get you out of that predicament, aka the lost soul. That lost soul now moves on after it finally understands why it did what it did so that it can move on to the next life. So hell is multiple realities. It's not always a burning fire or brimstones coming from the sky and stuff like that. Hell can be just purgatory, the loop, the life loop over and over again. And that's what that means on that front. So to answer your question, the soul is actually not yours. It belongs to the Creator, the source.
Thank you.
You okay? Golden boy.
Golden boy.
Yes, I am okay.
Okay. We have a lot. I think we have a lot to talk because I have a lot of questions too. I have a lot about to ask about Jews, Black Jews. I have a lot, but I think I'll bring you back again here. We'll plan. I know you have a lot to talk because there's a number of issues we haven't touched yet, but I will do that at our next live, Chief Zulu. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, that's okay. I'll be more than happy. I'll be honored to come back and continue to ask any questions that I have I can talk about the Black Jews. I can talk about the Native Americans. I can talk about various things. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm just putting it out there. And I see a couple of individuals on there on the chat is already offended because I talk about Jesus. But again, like I put in my disclaimer in the very beginning, have an open mind. If you claim to have an ear to hear, just as the Bible has stated, have an ear to ear, cut out that ego because we all have a devil and we all have an angel within us. Your actions speak louder than words. Reduce the offensive and try to understand why I'm saying the things that I'm saying. Do your own homework, do your own research, and only you can be able to understand where I'm coming from. And on top of that, you may be able to discover more things, more treasures. This we all, believe it or not, come from various different walks of life. We all trying to find ourselves, why we exist, what is our purpose, etc., etc. The answers are well within us. You just have to sit down, cut out the chatter, and be able to be at peace and let the Creator speak to you so that you can receive the answers. And if you don't understand it, you got people like me and various other elders that would kind of explain it. You also have shamans too that can explain it too as well. So I would be more than happy to come back. It would be an honor. And there's also one very important subject that I would like to speak about. I'm going to give honor to Vanita Benitez. She's a woman that's been trying to address this situation about the first Africans that came here in America. Even though we've heard a lot about Ghana, it was Angola that first came over here. And the story about the millions of slaves that came here was very little. It started from Angola, and they came on a ship. It was called Port. She's probably gonna get on my case on this, but it was Port something before it became. Where's that in Virginia? Where's that in Virginia? Where is that? I had it right in my mind. But it was somewhere in Virginia. It was not Jamestown the way it was perceived to be. Hampton. Okay. It was before it was Hampton, it was called something else. And it was called the White Something. It was the name of a ship. It was initially a cargo ship, but they actually redid it and gutted it out to make it a slave ship. So there was no slave ships that were actually created. And there used to be slaves back then. And I just mentioned that Caucasians were the slaves back at that time. But it was well treated. It was called the Slavics, Slavic. You should look that up. You also had Moors that had harems back then. If you look at Spain, if you go into the Spain Museum, you can look at the various pictures. The White Lion. Thank you for whoever. Thank you for bringing that. I knew it was white something. The White Lion was the name of the ship. I know Vanita is going to get on my case. I hope she don't. But I definitely want to speak about that, and maybe at some point, if you would like, we can bring her on, and because she is very knowledgeable in that aspect, and I've helped her a lot with the crest in England that she's trying to get that taken back. The Queen has stolen the crest and used it for her palace. And she wrote a letter to them, and it was to a lot of people. It was very controversial, but she was very successful getting in touch with them, and was able to get that back, get that returned. So it's just a whole host of knowledge that I have, and I'm definitely willing to share it. This is the time. I've been hiding. I've been staying under the radar. Like I said, I'm not very popular on Facebook or Instagram or any of those channels just because you know, you have a lot of intelligence agencies that's looking for this so-called Messiah, when in reality, all of us have a Christ energy. It's just a lot of people are afraid to come out, and I'm definitely not afraid because I had a taste of a near-death experience, and I feel like I'm just a different kind of individual now. So now's the time, and this is who I am. This is what I am. I can tell you my real name later, but for now, this Chief Zulu. You can call me by that
Yeah,
name.
Chief Zulu for now. Now, I want to thank everyone who have been here. Chief Zulu has gave us something. It's really hidden secret of secrets of Caucasian. Thank you, Madmos, Med Moisel. Thank you, Jude. Thank you, Wadram. Wadram has his own opinion. Wadram has his own opinion. I think I will invite him maybe someday. There is Vibe 369. Thank you, Ima Israel. Thank you, and everyone who have been following this. I know this has a great impact to our knowledge. We need this knowledge so that we really know who we are. Thank you, Wave, and a lot of people who have been here. And I want to thank you, Golden Boy, for being here again, because you are a great content creator, a great man, and I want to thank you, and I want to give thanks to you, Chief Zulu, because what you have just said today, what I've heard from you, I, I never I never thought that I'll have something like that in my mind, because as youths, like, there's some things we just pass without try to seek knowledge of it. But as we age, I know we're trying to know these things. And thank you for your knowledge, because to have all those things in your mind, in your brain, oh damn it, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. Golden Boy, you have something to say? The last thing.
Yeah,
The last thing.
I would like to say thank you, Chief Zulu, for giving us this many knowledge. I don't know how to describe this, but you have answered almost all my questions, and everything that you have talked about are true. And I will take that. I have notes actually. I was writing them down, so I will be reading them slow by slow, so that I can be consuming them day to day. So thank you for coming again, and thank you for giving us this show, Kenyan Beast.
Chief
Again,
Zulu.
I thank you, and I thank Kenyan Beast for inviting me to the show. For sure, I was just like an audience, just like one of everybody else that looks on YouTube. One day, I looked at many different videos. I definitely saw that German guy that proclaimed that he had a reason to come, and still, rather than him telling you that lie, he could have been honest and told you the exact truth. And to be honest, he doesn't even know who he is. I don't fault the guy for saying the things that he said, nor do I fault any Caucasian person out there for doing what they have done. It's just, I have to live by peace, truth, justice, love, and honor. I'm all about being in honor, and I would take the L. If I'm wrong, I'll take the L. That lets you know the consciousness that I have. That I don't pretend to know everything. Um, and like I said, I am a husband. I am married. I have two little ones that I'm looking after. And let's be real.
They're asking, do you have a YouTube channel?
I don't. I used to have a YouTube channel. I took it down. But if you go to Blog Talk Radio, it may still be there. I had a show. It's Chakram Radio. It's Chakram Radio. It may still be there. It may not. I haven't logged in a long time, but I talk about those things right on that show. I actually created a website and I post my notes so that everybody can have access to it. sources, many different books. And despite what you read in these books, and it's coming from a lot of authors, there's some biased things with these authors. You just have to look past that. A lot of times, books are not meant to be read front and back, even the Bible. Let me tell you how the spirit works. You can get a book, you can scroll through the pages, and somehow, some way, the answer that you seek is in that book. It's on that page. And the moment you read it, you can be like, how did I find this out? Oh, it's because you have a guided spirit that's showing you the way. And you're not alone. All of us is not alone. We all have a guiding spirit. We all have an ancestor, that's always around us. And again, you'll always be safe if you listen to within. That communication, that open line of communication is very vital because the Creator dwells within your temple and you dwell in it. And you will know when you are in the right place, when you feel at peace, when you humble yourself to the information, you would just know. And that's the reasoning for know thyself.
Okay, I think uh, we will talk again, or we'll have another live again. And I want to just thank everyone who have been here. I want you, all of you who are listening to me right now, please take your time to subscribe to this YouTube channel. We have great videos that I've done. I am a Pan-African. I talk about Black people, positives of Black people, and everything that are affecting us. All I'm praying is just unity for all Black people, because as Chief Zulu said, that they fear our unity because our unity will bring about the bombshell. So Black people talking about unity, that's all we need. What's happening in Africa, what's happening in Kenya. By the way, Golden Boy, our president here in Kenya, William Ruto, said that he wants to vaccinate our cows so that they can stop fighting. And I went back 5 years ago. This guy, Bill Gates, talked about this vaccinating cattle, and there is a connection. So sometimes I think our president here, William Ruto, is a really just like, he's a ball boy because he's being used as an example to he was asked to take a military to Haiti. He took our military to Haiti. He was given some cash. Now here he want to do this trying of vaccinating our cattle here. So a lot of things are happening in Africa, and the only thing we will do is for Africa. The first thing is for our unity. After uniting, that's where we'll have or we'll be capable to tackle some things that are happening on us. So Chief Zulu, you have something to say?
Yes, I do. I do have a lot to talk about that in terms of the Africa is at a position right now. There is a major calling by the Creator to have us return. A lot of us have a question of how do we return to a land that we don't know when we were born and raised here in America. And the thing is, you are in Africa, and once you realize that you are in Africa, you can safely return to a place that has been, already slated for you from the very beginning. A lot of us don't have the means to visit. And that's the reason why I do travel. That's the reason why I go to the museums and I bring back the footage. I have a lot of things to share, lots of pictures to offer, and so that you can see the things that you just won't able to see from mainstream media or actually going to these places. But once you get rid of the corruption in Africa, it will be a much better place. And that's sort of the reason why Donald Trump here in America is doing. He wants to eradicate the corruption, and if that can happen for Africa, then it would be no-brainer for us to return and actually help Africa become the Africa that it needs to be. Maybe become the Wakanda, or Wakanda times two, or Wakanda times three, whatever it may be. We have the ability to come together and actually work together, but with a sound mind, and be able to develop some really great things for this planet.
Yeah. And again, all of you, I'm asking you to subscribe to this channel, Golden Boy. He's a content creator doing great job. Subscribe to Golden Boy, all of you. Please kindly do that for me. And subscribe to this channel called African Streamline. All of you, I'm asking you to subscribe to these channels because we are uniting all the Black people. So subscribe to this channel, Kenyan Beast, Golden Boy, and subscribe to African Streamline. And thank you all for being here. Thank you, all of you, for being here. I think we are ending this. You know, in African way, like in Africa, when we are ending something, we end with those African music. But you know, here we cannot end with music. I just thank you, and I want you to have peace, all of you, wherever you are. Peace be upon you, and stay vigilant. Golden Boy.
Yeah, you can end the stream, the stream, like yesterday, so that we can continue.
Chief Zulu, I can just leave you to go so that we can connect other time and go live, because I had your children came. So just go and say hi to them, and then so another time we will talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you. May peace be unto you.
Peace. Golden Boy.
Golden Boy.
Yes, we are back. Hey, my friend, I want to tell you that there are a lot of informations, and actually, there's a boy here who has been complaining very much. That is Wardram. Wardram has said that he wants you to start another stream so that he can correct most of the information that were disseminated by Chief Zulu. So can you hold that Zoom next time?
Who? Wardram. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you try to Wardram, I want you to be I want to go live with you someday. So my number is there on the if you can see my number there, just send me a WhatsApp. Anyone who wanna talk to me, I have a WhatsApp number. This is Kenyan number. So yeah, I'll go live with him, and I want him to correct what Chief Zulu maybe have said. But you know, everyone has his own side. Okay.
So you can end the Zoom. You can end the stream. Let me go and sleep, because I don't know what is your time. It is actually midnight. Yeah, in Kenya.
Even here, we are in Kenya. So someone is saying here Trump and Musk are white supremacists, and you will find out soon enough. I believe you, Moisel. I believe you on that. And a lot of things is happening, and a lot of things is going to happen. And you know, we just keep on having faith and see what's gonna happen. But I'm going to end this live, but I'm just asking you to support our brother Golden Boy, support Kenyan Beast, and go and subscribe to African Streamline, and just go and check right now. You will see good content, because it's all about Black people. This is us. Okay. I think I'm gonna end, and I'll say peace be upon you. That's all, Golden Boy.
Bye. See you. See you next time.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, all of you. African Streamline is down here. Aha. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, all of you. Please just take this 1 minute before I end this live to subscribe on this YouTube channel and subscribe to the channel of African Streamline. Doing great job. And I think we're going to meet in the next live. Until next time, I say peace be with you.